Hello, two heads up here. Welcome to another one of my God Wars Dungeon setup guides and inventory guides. If you couldn't tell already, this time it's Saradomin. So let's dive right into it. So what god pieces do you need at Saradomin? Obviously you need a Saradomin piece and you need a Zamrock piece. And there are several ways about going through this. I definitely recommend, no matter what way you do it, you always use a God D'hide top, so either a Zami top or Sara top. And so let's talk about some alternatives. As you can see, I'm wearing a Sara top and a Zami kite. Some other popular options are just wearing a God top and then wearing a God book. So, for example, a Sara top and a Zami book. And then bringing a better shield, such as a Dragon Square shield, Crystal shield, or Dragonfire shield. So out of those three, which one would be the best? I mean, excluding the Dragonfire shield. So should you bring a Dragon Square shield or a Crystal shield? Well, it really just depends. Crystal shield gives the highest range defense in the game, and you do have to tank the minion's range attack. And the Dragon Square shield only gives a -2 range attack bonus, while the Crystal shield gives a -10. So I've used the Crystal shield, I've used the Kite shield, I haven't used the Dragon Square shield. But if you use any other shield other than a God shield, a rune God trimmed Kite shield, you do have to waste an extra inventory space. And that's why just ultimately, just to make it simple, I've just decided on this setup just to use the God top and God shield. But if you do have a DFS, definitely bring it. And if you want to give another shield a try, definitely give it a try. Just make sure you bring a book and make sure you don't dequip that book while you're getting your kill count. Okay, now that that's all over with, let's talk about the setup and the inventory and everything. So, with Saradomin, you want to go with a tank range setup if you haven't noticed. The only reason I have the whip is to get the kill count and to kill the minions. But the whole idea of Saradomin is you do not actually fight her one-on-one, hand-on-hand combat. You run away from her like a little bitch. And the best way to do that is to range her. Another alternative is to use Verax, but Verax does use up a lot of your run, and you do take quite a lot more damage using Verax than range, and it's much more intensive using Verax, especially when you're down there for 3 or 4 hours and you haven't gotten a drop. It really gets pretty tiring even with range, which is definitely a possibility, guys. I just went 2 trips try for 3 hours each, more than 3 hours each, so I'm pretty bummed out about Sara. The idea is to bring as many 3-to-1 ratios of brews as possible, so that's what I've done, and that's exactly what I've done. I've brought 16, have I done that? Yeah, I think so. I brought 16 brews and the rest superstores, which may or may not be a little bit overkill. I change it up a little bit every time, but no matter what I do, I always end up lower on food than I do prayer. Saradomin, Commander Zelena drops prayer potions, brews, and superstores, and you get to use the altar. And when you're wearing Verax and you have that prayer bonus, your prayer doesn't drain terribly fast. You do have to protect Mage the whole time, but I always end up with lower food than prayer, just about. So, as always with any boss in God Wars, except for Zamrock, bring some Bones of Peaches, and okay, let's get started with the gear. This is what the prayer bonus looks like. As I said before, this is what the range bonus looks like with the setup. This range bonus will vary depending upon what shield you use and what boots you use. A good alternative to ranger boots is obviously either snakeskin, but if you want to mix it up a bit, you can use Bandos boots and get that extra melee defense and that extra prayer bonus from Bandos boots. So they do have a use in the game. Ruby bolts. I always use Ruby bolts when she's 3/4 of health or higher. The max you can spec with a Ruby bolt is 51, so they're definitely worth bringing. And once she's below 3/4 health, I just switch to diamond bolts. And diamond bolts are really only bolts you want to use because you're not going to be able to hit with any other kind of bolt. Bear's gloves and all the rest. And I've got a Ring of Life. If you want to use something other than a Ring of Life, bring an Archer's Ring. But out of all the bosses to lag out to, if you lag out at Sarah, even for a few seconds, you can die very easily. And if you saw my video, you can see how quickly she can knock you out, even if you're above half health. So she is a very hard-hitting and dangerous boss, but as long as you kite her properly, you have no worries. I will make a kiting guide later for those of you that are concerned about that, but this is just a setup guide. And I'll also make a Ring of Wealth discussion later because I'm very pissed off at the Ring of Wealth right now. I should have gotten a lot more drops than the amount of time I put into God Wars. For the amount of time I put in, I've gotten very few drops, and it's pretty discouraging and exhausting. So that's enough baby bitching for me. That's the setup, and I believe that's everything I have to say about Sarah. And you do get your kill count with your whip, and the kill count takes a long time. It's like almost like an armadillo kill count. It takes that long. I kill mages. Obviously, you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna kill if you can't kill spiritual mages. All right, thanks again for watching. Please leave a like if this guide was helpful, and I'll see you next time.